Hey VC, there are so many vinyl tags doing the rounds at the moment. I can't do them all, but one, as soon as I saw it, I thought, yeah, I'm going to jump on this one. It's taken me a little while to get my choice of records together, but it's the one that Jack at the Vinyl Voyage put together, which is the, what's he calling, the album art tag of 2026. And yeah, it's always great to show records based on the visuals as much as the sounds. So yeah, he's produced how many questions? 12 questions and a bonus question at the end. So I've got records to show for all of these. So let's get to it. I will leave a link to Jack's channel before. You probably know it, but if you don't, check it out. It's one I've been particularly enjoying in the last year or so. So get on over there. Okay, the first question is, show an album sleeve with a band or artist looking cool. This is, of course, subjective. Well, I have gone with Girl and their Sheer Greed album. Now, you may be thinking, oh, good God, what a state. I think it looked cool as hell. Phil Lewis, bit of a rock god. I mean, he was going out Britt Ekland at this time, so she must have thought he looked pretty cool. And the fact this album came out in 1980, when most bands look like, I don't know, Fleetwood Mac roadies, I think they were pretty brave going for this look. They predated Motley Crue and Rat and that whole LA scene, and to be honest, almost created that hair metal look and sound. Having said that, they're obviously very influenced by, I would guess, the first two Japan albums. Before Japan became a synth rock band or synth pop band, they were a really angular, Berlin sounding, glammy art rock band, and there's a fair bit of that sound on here and a fair bit of Roxy music as well as some just good hard rock. You had to have balls in 1980 to have this look. You may just about recognise this guy. That's Phil Collen, not Collins, Phil Collen, who went on to play guitar in Def Leppard and doesn't look a whole lot like that anymore, and perhaps wouldn't want to be reminded of his sort of lipstick and mascara days. But cool looking band, great record. Check him out. Question number 2 is, okay, I think Jack gave us a choice of showing our weirdest, trippiest or most controversial LP covers. I'm going to show one of each. My weirdest, for me, and this again is a subjective thing, Max Webster's Hangover, which I think was just self-titled when it was released in Canada and had different sleeve art. But this kind of triple I thing, I find it really hard to look at. It does weird me out every time I look at it. Great music, great band, and I guess it's representative of the band because they were pretty off the wall. So Max Webster as my weirdest. My trippiest is possibly this one by Vibravoid. And why is it trippy? Because it's, if I can get the glare off it, it's got this real cool lenticular cover. So it looks like it's moving the whole time, shape-shifting. This was there's a compilation of early material. What the dates on this? 92 to 97. They're German sort of psychedelic krautrock band. Probably got a fair bit in common with bands like Tangerine Dream and that kind of thing, and some noise rock type sensibilities. There's the Obi from it, one of 500 copies. I don't love this album. I'm growing to like it quite a lot, but I do love that sleeve art. Fantastic stuff. Okay, and then the most controversial, I mean, probably the most controversial ones you can't show, and I'm going to put my hand over this just in case YouTube gets funny about it. But Guns N' Roses' debut with the sort of robot assault sleeve, which I think is a fantastic piece of artwork. But it raised a few eyebrows, which I think was the intention. They came out wanting to be the most dangerous band in the world, and I think they kind of achieved that for a while. And of course, the original cover was withdrawn, a more standard heavy metal sort of skulls and crosses kind of sleeve came out in its place. But I bought this the week it came out, saw them at the Marquee, 2 of the 3 nights they played, and they were incredible. I have to say, they're one of those bands that went from being possibly the most exciting, greatest band in the world, to being nothing to me really. No interest in the later material, but what an album, and what a great sleeve. Okay, question number 3 is my sexiest LP cover. This is, maybe it's an obvious choice, I don't know, but certainly Kate Bush is an obvious choice. There's plenty of guys in the VC who've got a thing for Kate Bush. I mean, what's sexier than Kate Bush in a sort of lion costume onesie? I mean, only she could make a onesie look sexy, but you cannot go wrong with that sleeve, and she looks great on the back as well. So Kate Bush on the sexiest album sleeve. Question 4 is an LP cover I dislike and why. It's the US Scooters, or the Scooters as they were called elsewhere. Why do I dislike it? Because it kind of it almost encourages this attitude there seemed to be in the 70s of young girls a fair game. And you've got this very heavily made up young girl here. This guy's looking lecherously at her. I don't even want to think what this guy's trying to represent with his hands there. And some of the lyrics on this are just revolting. Yeah, I don't even want to read them out, but it's a lot of kind of fantasies about schoolgirls and stuff like that, which is a shame because it's actually a really good, edgy power pop album. Some lighter, poppier moments and some great harmonies, but it's a really good record. I won't get rid of it, but I do think it's a repulsive cover. Question number 5 is an LP cover featuring an animal. Spoilt for choice here, I decided to go for Damnation, or Damnation of Adam Blessing, as they were known on their first couple of albums. I think they were later called Glory. I've got the other 2 Damnation albums, but not the Glory one, so that's on my want list. So you've got a wolf on the front there. The album, by the way, is called Which is the Justice, Which is the Thief. You've also got a sheep on the back if the wolf isn't enough for you. And this is a really good album. Perhaps slightly off the pace of the first 2, which are all-time psych-tinged hard rock classics in my opinion, but this isn't far off. And don't see this one so often, but it's well worth grabbing if you can find it. Question number 6 is an LP cover with an interesting backstory. I don't know how interesting this is. I struggled with this question a little bit because I've told the stories of some LP backstories before, and I don't really want to repeat myself. So I've gone with New Boots and Panties by Enduring the Blockheads. And I suppose the interesting part of the backstory of this, first off, the choice of location. Ian Dury had said in an interview that he buys all his clothes secondhand apart from his boots and his underwear, which is why the album has the title it has. And the photographer on this was a guy called Chris Gabrin. And at the time he was taking the shoot, I think he was looking for something a little bit extra. And Indura's son, Baxter, was watching the photo shoot and just ran into the frame at one point and posed next to his dad. And that's what ended up being the final photo that they chose. Baxter has since said, no, it was all planned. Indura said that his son just ran in to be with his dad. Somewhere in the middle there is the truth, I guess. But who cares? It's the story that matters. So yeah, they're posing outside an old-fashioned kind of clothes shop. I think it was in South London somewhere, Vauxhall, I believe. Great sleeve, great photograph. How cool does that little kid look? I mean, it looks even cooler than his dad. So, yeah, Ian Dury, great artist, really good album. Question number 7 is an LP with an interesting sleeve design, die cut, pop-up, etc. Well, I've gone for one which is neither of those things. It's 9 Days Wander, their self-titled album from, when was it? 71. Although this is a 2010 reissue on the Long Hair label. Now, when this got a UK issue, is releasing a completely different sleeve. It had like pictures of a fish on the front. But the original German release came in this, don't know whether you can actually tell, but it's a sponge sleeve. Sponge kind of attached to card. You can probably tell better from where there's that little kind of nibble out of it. That's sponge. But a very unusual design. Very expensive to produce, which I think is why the UK issue didn't have this sleeve. And this is a fantastic record, apart from having a really weird sleeve. It's eye-catching. It's a pretty horrible colour, but it's unusual. It's unique in my collection, a sponge sleeve, that's for sure. This is kind of avant-garde. If you're into Zappa, you would certainly like this. Let me just check my notes. Lots of fuzz bass, a saxophone, yeah, Zappa, psychedelia, Van de Graaff generator, free jazz. It's a great record. And like I say, really unusual sleeve design. So Longhair did a really good job of reissuing this in 2010 with the original sleeve art. Okay, next question, number 8, is some sleeve art that made me take a chance on an LP. Well, I'm always doing this. I love a blind buy. This is one that I actually bought, I think it was about 20 years ago in Santa Cruz in the States at a place called Streetlight. Yeah, Streetlight Records. And I couldn't resist it when I saw the sleeve. Trillion. At the time, I'd never seen this record before. Yeah, I had no idea it existed, and I saw that and I thought, oh yes, that is just right up my street. It's a white label promo as well, which is an added bonus. And it was certainly a blind buy, although there was a little sticker that the record store put on the sleeve saying, a bit like Styx crossed with Rush. Now, don't hear the Rush similarity, but Styx most definitely. This is very much pomp rock, AOR, Queen harmonies, some heavy guitar, soaring keyboards, all the stuff that I love. And the guy in the shop, when I took it to the counter, he said, oh yeah, I've been meaning to spin that one to see what it's like, let us know. So 20 years later, if you're watching this, yeah, it's definitely got that Styx sort of vibe to it. Love that sleeve. Okay, next up, question number 9 is the sleeve in my collection with the most wear or battle scars. Well, I'm going for 2 here. One of the battle scars is my copy of Made in Japan, which you can see there, it's got discoloured corner. And I've no intention of ever upgrading to a better sleeve, because this was new when I bought it, and that damage occurred when my cat, many years ago, 30 plus years ago, decided to take a piss against my record collection, and Made in Japan took the brunt. So that is a little kind of memory of my long deceased pet. So there you go. That's the battle scar. And my most worn, I think to call this worn is a bit of a, it's been kind to the record. This is absolutely trashed. Spooky Tooth's The Mirror. And I mean, these die cut sleeves get damaged all the time, but this one is barely clinging on. I got it ridiculously cheap, which is why I own this at all. I would love a better copy or better sleeve, because the record plays fine. And it's a really great record. I love Spooky Tooth after, well, the kind of commonly accepted view is that they went downhill, and particularly once Mick Jones, who later went on to Foreigner, came in. I love these albums. They've got that real kind of heavy mid-70s commercial hard rock or Bad Company feel to them. Brilliant records. And this is really nice sleeve art. It just happens to be completely trashed. So I'm looking out for a sleeve upgrade there. Question number 10 is my favourite inner gatefold sleeve. So I like this one. The difficulty is, of course, if you've got a database, you can look at the covers of your records on it without having to pull everyone off the shelves. What you can't do necessarily is look at the inside of the gatefold. So I had to really rack my brains for this one. But this is one that I've always loved. The album is Wings Over America. And this artwork, I think, is spectacular. I've pored over that for hours at a time. I think it's gorgeous. I'd love to be able to paint a band on stage looking like that. It's quite brilliant. I'd love a poster of that as well. But yeah, Wings Over America. Not an album I play a huge amount because it's a treble album. It's such a commitment of time that I just rarely pull it out. But maybe I'll have to do that this week. Haven't got it out now. But yeah, brilliant in a gatefold. Question number 11 is my favourite LP cover and why. This isn't necessarily my favourite. It is one of my favourites, and I've shown other favourites before. So this is one I don't think I've shown before, but I've always loved this. And this is another record that I bought because of the sleeve. And it's the debut by the Tubes. And if you can't see why, that's great. There's no hope for you. I mean, everything from the band logo, which looks like it's squirted out of a tube. I mean, it's so clever. And this sort of trompe-l'oeil kind of idea for the sleeve where you almost feel like the sleeve's 3D because his hand appears to be ripping the sleeve open. You know, that isn't sleeve damage. That is the record sleeve design. Absolutely love this sleeve. You know, right down to the creases in the fake shrink wrap. You know, printed on shrink wrap from the hand sort of dragging down it. What a band! I mean, I don't think they ever bettered their debut, although I love a lot of their material. I probably bought this in sort of the early to mid 80s. Like I say, not knowing anything about them, just loving the sleeve. And it's a long-term favourite of mine. It's got tracks that people would know: White Punks on Dope, What Do You Want From Live, Mondo Bondage, Up From the Deep. And to me, this is like a mix of really intelligent art rock and almost progressive rock, particularly on this debut. They sort of moved in a more AOR direction later on. But yeah, they sometimes get called punk, which is utterly ridiculous. And I think it's completely down to the fact they have a track called White Punks on Dope, so people got the wrong end of stick. But brilliant art rock, prog rock album. Okay. Question 12 is an LP cover I'd like to live in for the rest of my life. And I've gone with Neil Young's On the Beach. This is an original UK first pressing, and it's recognisable because it has that kind of patterned wallpaper interior to the sleeve. Now, I wouldn't want to live on this beach, and I'm not sure I'd want to hang out with Neil Young for any particular length of time, but to be on a beach for the rest of my life would be fantastic. But the beach I would choose, or the type of beach, would be the sort of wild, desolate, windswept beaches that you get in the Pacific Northwest and States. There's one beach that I stayed at years ago with my wife in a place in Oregon called, I think it's called Yahots. And we woke up in the morning and went down to the beach, which was just full of rock pools and washed up, bleached tree trunks. And the whole beach was strewn with multicoloured starfish as far as you could see. There were thousands of them, every colour imaginable. It was like tripping on acid. It was just so mental. So yes, a beach like that, to be able to sit there, look out at the sea, paint, draw, listen to music. Beautiful, beautiful place to be. So this leaves the inspiration, but these sort of beaches don't do it for me. I like wild, desolate places. Okay, the bonus question, number 13, is to create my own LP cover for an LP released by my own channel. I've done that. I paint a little bit, This is an oil painting I did as a self-portrait I did a couple of years ago now. I just thought I'd turn that into an LP sleeve, so I'll put it up on the screen. Let me know what you think of it. I'm actually thinking of using that painting as my sort of channel thumbnail to replace the one I've got. So if you think that's a good idea, let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll be back again soon with another video, and thanks to Jack for putting these questions together. Great selection of questions. Really enjoyed doing this one. Take care. Bye for now.